All right, so hey everybody, I'm here with, well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and what we're talking about today?
My name is Distal. I produce as electronic music as Distal, Distal, and my God-given name is Michael Rathbun, and I'm currently living in Seattle, Washington.
Cool, cool. I actually recently met a few really cool people from that area, so there seems to be less of a shithead haven than I actually used to think, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, you can't live in this kind of environment and not just kind of start thinking differently. And I just moved here actually from the South 2 years ago, so it's
Oh,
been kind
really?
of a culture shock.
Right on. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, the amount of Atlanta.
Atlanta. Very nice.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's a great city. It's beautiful views and but the politics here are pretty bad. They're
Yeah.
pretty dystopian, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm from California. Lived here my whole life, and I can definitely agree. Just seeing what's going on in San Francisco right now. So far I haven't seen any violence, but just the fact that so many people would show up to protest a white supremacist, quote unquote, and he's Japanese, and his entire, if you listen to him for a minute and a half, he says, "No, I'm here. I'm not even conservative. I'm actually just trying to bring everybody together because we need to be more peaceful now." And then you have literally Nancy Pelosi going out there saying, "We need to stop this white supremacist meetup." Like, I think he ought to take her to
Yeah,
court, honestly.
yeah. I mean, I think everybody should take people to court for. I mean, I'm starting to do that right now too. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, the idea that now everybody who's a conservative or a libertarian is now some kind of neo-Nazi, and if you're not with us, then you're against us kind of
Hmm.
mentality. It's really scary. It's pretty scary
It
actually.
is. It
Uh,
is. I mean, people
do this
worship.
deal up.
Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
I said people worship Dan Harmon, the guy that does Rick and Morty. I mean, hell, I really liked Community when it came out. I really like Rick and Morty, and he came out with he was like a rant, and it probably was just throwing a number, pulled a number out of his ass. But he was going on about how there's Nazis now. You have to actually say that you're not a Nazi, and he said 29% of the world are Nazis. A third of American are Nazis. You're radicalizing people, first of all, and second of all, there isn't even half of a percentage, not even half, not even one half of 1/10 of a percentage of America are Nazis, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which are the same people who are pushing this misinformation to
Yeah,
begin with. So I imagine those are inflated
yeah,
numbers to begin with as well. So it drives
yeah.
me
He's a little
nuts.
bit hyperbolic.
Hmm.
Right now. Everybody's freaking out, hyperbolic. But it's just it's a sad vacuum that is sucking up everybody in its wake, and I just happen to be another victim of it, which is weird because I had been a libertarian and conservative in my music scene for years and years, and everybody kind of made a joke about it. It was kind of in good friendship joke, kind of, that everybody knew that I thought different, but then after the Charlottesville thing, it was like, oh, time for a good old witch hunt. So they tried to drown me and loaded and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, that's
but yeah, it's scary, man. It's really scary. I mean, to know that I've lost friends over this, and that I've lost people that I've when I traveled in Europe, people I've stayed with that have known me personally, for weeks at a time. People that that are acquaintances but just really know me, and it's just really weird to see this. And I think a lot of people actually stopped communicating with me because they just didn't want to, they didn't want to have any association, even if they didn't believe that it was true. They just didn't want to hurt their careers.
mhm.
So it's there's different levels of people and where they're coming at it from with me, but it's pretty it's pretty messed up that it's like I'm poisoned now to the music scene. But
Right.
I'm
Business is
I'm
supposed to be
I've
about.
doubled down.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I don't mean to do that.
What's that?
I was going to say, business is supposed to be about
Yeah.
business. At the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. And now they've got it backwards.
Right. Exactly. And it's funny. I've been getting a lot of messages of people saying, "Oh, well, you shouldn't bring politics into music," but I'm surrounded by politics in music.
Hmm.
But it's just that I don't go with the flow. I'm not. you know, postmodern progressive. So I don't, and I have sound arguments. It's just that a lot of these people aren't intellectuals, and when it doesn't feel good, they just want to reject it completely. So they spend their time, you know, enamored with music, which is great. That's what they should be doing. But at the same time, they're not opening a book, they're not opening their mind, and they think that they're rejecting, you know, rejecting everything on the right, and conservatism and libertarianism is a rejection of, you know, of their past, of like their parents, or, you know, they're just taking that, and anything that feels bad, they're pushing away. And it's kind of ridiculous, because even people I totally disagree with in the scene, who are intellectuals or who have good, you know, conversations with me or debate me, they've actually come out and defended me and said, you know, we don't agree with libertarianism, we don't agree with conservatism, but you guys have got it wrong. So it's a breath of fresh air to see that even people that disagree with me intellectually are defending free speech and defending my, you know, my livelihood, which is good. So there's been some good from it. It's been a good experience for filtering out, you know, who's a real person and who's just in it for themselves. And, you know, you should kind of be in it for yourselves at this, but, you know, you should also defend, you know, a diversity in the scene as far as thought and speech and ideas, because, you know, we're all artists, and if we can't fully express, you know, how we feel or how we process the world around us, if we're told that what we're doing is wrong think or is, you know, not falling in line, and, you know, you're creating fascist art too. You're just creating bullshit. And, you know, we need to have freedom in all facets of art. So for me, this has been, you know, I'm first over the hill with this, and actually I'm writing an open letter right now. And I've told everybody that I'm doubling down, because it doesn't really seem to be, everybody else that they've gone after for a witch hunt has seemed to bow down quite a bit. And I'm not going to bow down. So I've actually gained a lot of fans. I've actually gained a lot of support from people behind the scenes that have said, hey man, I think exactly like you, you know, I'm sick of this too. And so I'm trying to encourage people to come out and just, you know, even if it's a simple tweet here and there, or just, you know, supporting of something funny too. You know, that's the most ridiculous part about all this, is that everybody's lost their sense of humor. You know, they went after this Thomas Sowell meme I made, or that I didn't make, that I retweeted, and they were, oh, it's racist. It must be racist because it's, you know, they didn't even know who Thomas Sowell was. They just thought I was making fun of somebody who was black. And, you know, I tried to defend myself. I've read almost all his books. You know, I love him. He's one of my, you know, greatest heroes, and they're just so ignorant that they had no idea. They didn't even get the irony of the meme. So it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, the thing I hate about all of this mostly is the threat of social shaming, the idea of getting people to just shut up. You know, let's make
it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, let's make the atmosphere so full of tension that people are going to be afraid to speak out and say whatever they have on their mind. And now the only idea that will be mainstream is everyone's consensus on what's the right idea. Like I like what they said that ex-CEO of Google said, I believe she was, or he was, or whatever. She goes, James Damore made incorrect assumptions about gender. The idea of incorrect ideas. Like, I could disagree with a lot of ideas, but there's nothing that makes anything incorrect as far as ideology goes. Like, I know this is a bit of a... I by the way, I'm not a neo-Nazi, but even the Holocaust, right? Like, that wasn't even... It was terrible, but, yeah. To describe everything in those terms is just crazy to me. Yeah,
it's pretty insane. Yeah, like news articles coming out saying, you know, this is how you should think about. I mean, it's just such a weird way to, like, I was trying to tell my wife the other day, you see how this news article says, this is how you should think about what happened in this area. It's weird. Nothing's objective anymore. It's just all, this is how you should think. This is how it should be. And if not, you're going to get social shamed. So,
or
do you want me to tell what happened? Or do you want me to explain a little bit about what happened, like the background of everything?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
For sure. So I guess I kind of did want to separate my music career from my politics, you know, after the election last year, just because, you know, like you said, money's money, and I didn't want to alienate fans. And so I actually took put my Distal persona on hiatus as far as political posts were concerned. So I decided to just use my personal Facebook page as a way to engage people that I already knew and that I already had relationships with about politics. But I wanted to do it in a creative way, so I made these YouTube videos where I would take big ideas and break them down into 3 to 5 minute segments, and you know, create like a soundtrack and do a, you know, some visual presentation of it. which I thought was like a good, way to, instead of just posting memes or arguing with people, I thought this was a really healthy way to do it. And apparently there is no healthy way to do it now. So this one guy, Chrissy Murderbot from Chicago, who I barely know, he took it upon himself to say, oh, this Ben Shapiro video about affirmative action is, he said, I'm totally disappointed in you. And I said, okay, well, defend your idea. That was my first response. Well, if you're disappointed in me, because I think affirmative action and minimum wage is a pretty easy argument to defeat. So I said, okay, bring your best argument. And I walked away. And then when I came back, I saw that he made this post where he had tagged the last big music festival that I played in, which is like a really big deal called Movement Electronic Music Festival in Detroit. I mean, they bring in 50,000 plus people. So he tagged them and he said, hey, everybody, I have something to discuss with you guys. There's an artist that I know who is espousing white supremacist, racist, Nazi ideas. And then he tags the festival and says, and he played this festival. What should I do? I've already tried talking to him. This is really scary stuff, as if his life was in danger from my thoughts or something.
Because God forbid you actually question affirmative action, which, by the way, is a discriminatory practice. Asian Americans, East Indians, Jewish Americans, and Asian Americans are all discriminated against by affirmative action policies. An example of this would be like scoring for your SATs. Those students I just listed have to score higher than everybody else to be accepted, because there isn't as high as a demand for them. No one wants them because of the color of their skin, and you don't see the ACLU coming up to stand behind them.
Right, and the fact that you get points added if you're Asian because you have a that was the point my video made, was that what about Asian people who grow up in bad neighborhoods, and the system is saying, well, because you're Asian, you have to do better than a white person, or black people that say, well, they've had it really bad too, so we're gonna give them extra points. It's really weird and backwards, and even Thomas Sowell was a big proponent or opponent of it, and so I can really continuing on with the story, I can really defend that idea. And so instead of actually debating me, he starts just slandering my name. And the first second somebody said, "Who is it? Let us know." And 30 seconds later, he just said, "Oh, it's Mike Distal." And so from there, he tagged some other person, actually the person who actually took it a step further. This guy runs, there's a big radio station called Boiler Room, and they do music. Yeah, I think they're fairly mainstream at this point. So, but they have a Twitter account with 300,000 followers, and there's a guy named Mikhail who runs it. And he said, I really respect Chrissy's point of view, and I'm noticing that I'm watching his videos and I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And I had known that he had previously tried to adopt 2 other big artists previous weeks as being Nazis. So I was like, oh, great, here we go. So wake up the next day, and he's posted a picture of what's supposed to be me hugging Pepe, holding Mein Kampf. But I mean, what a good giant leap from hey, I don't believe in minimum wage and affirmative action to guess what? I have copies of Mein Kampf in my house. So of course that's going to enrage a million people. And I woke up to just hordes of people. I mean, I felt like I was on Game of Thrones. And I was just like White Walkers. I mean, it was pretty insane. So but since then it's been. And then he took it a step further because somebody didn't like what he was doing. I guess one of my fans. So they made a parody account of him. They made him Isaac from Children of the Corn, and they kept.
Sorry, that's.
They
pretty
tweeted
good.
at me. It's great. It's so beautiful. And he said, "Good job." He thought it was me, and I said, "It's not me, but I think it's hilarious." And the GIF had a kid, and looked at me, and camera would zoom in, and it would say, "We need to see your history right away, Distal." And then they also had him as Hitler and him as Stalin, him as Mao, and he hated it. So he brought out the nukes. He just said, I got a nuclear option here. So he did. He pulled out his Boiler Room Twitter account and said, hey, dear fans of Distal, I think you should reconsider being fans of him, because here's his alt-right Twitter account.
Right.
That's not even mine. So I showed him pictures, said, hey, look, I'm talking to the guy right now. It's not me. Here's a proof of it. And he said, well, the way you can make this stop. I mean, this sounds like blackmail? Man in the High Castle. This is how you make it stop. You tell him to stop, and this can all go away.
Yeah, that sounds like blackmail.
Kidding me? Yeah, it is blackmail basically. So I was like, hey, I don't have control of somebody else. And so he just kept on. And so I made a decision, though. I decided to just double down and just defend my ideas instead of cowering or, going away. So people were threatening me to kill myself, telling me, oh, I know this fool. People posting pictures of my face and saying he lives in Seattle. If we see him at a show, you know what to do. Punch a Nazi. People threatening my wife, messaging her, calling her all kinds of names.
I have to interject a little bit. Remember when Richard Spencer got punched in the head, and most rational people said, hey, you shouldn't just walk up to somebody and punch him because they're a Nazi. They're like, no, he's an official Nazi and it's okay. We see how that has evolved. Now it's anyone we've decided as some sort of group is a Nazi we can do violence against. We don't need proof. We just need a mob, an angry mob behind us. It's really disgusting.
Well, it's not even that. What I was trying to explain this to somebody as well. It's like, if you imagine what happened to me, imagine if it happened to somebody who wasn't as intellectually sound or didn't have a stronger constitution. Mm-hmm. Imagine if this happened to somebody who was just a blue-collar worker, who worked hard his whole life and didn't know how to handle the situation. And people kept, you could see him. You could see somebody easily falling into the trap of saying, okay, well, I am going to go extreme now. And fine, you know what? Like somebody said, you tell somebody they are something long enough, they start believing it. And you're creating this vacuum that they're just going to jump in, that they're going to take and they're going to run with. And you're actually creating more of what you hate when you do this. Absolutely. Instead of debating and showing being rational human. So for me, I'm just like, wow, this is mind boggling. This is crazy. I mean, people threatening my mom, my wife, and, people telling me if I ever came to their city, they know what I look like. They're going to haze me and people are going to, shank me. It's just crazy. I have a long list of screenshots of violent threats. It's pretty insane.
Right. And then these are the same people that are on the news saying these people are heroes because they're fighting neo-Nazis. No, they're attacking regular people. I've never seen them actually attack a real neo-Nazi because they just attack random people with their backs turned. I'm talking of Antifa. I'm not sure if that's exactly who you're dealing with, but I imagine there's some overlap.
Well, the guy somebody found out that I guess Mikhail Stengel, apparently, according to an article I read, is that he is actually in Antifa. So, we're now in the phase. He's controlling one of the most popular music sites in the world, and he's an open member of Antifa. And so, obviously, he sees. What pisses me off the most about everything is that he's from Europe. He's from Germany and Russia. So he has no idea. He has no idea about American politics. Like when I went and traveled in Europe and I wore a Ron Paul sweater in 2012, I remember people thinking that I was crazy, like that I was supporting something insane. And they don't have the idea of liberty to them, the idea of individual liberty and of the freedom of, carrying a gun, the freedom of personal property. And all these ideas are really foreign to them. So it scares them. So anything they see as right-leaning, they just assume is just hard right. So that's what makes me mad about the whole thing too, is he's not even here. He doesn't even live in the States, yet he's here dictating what I am, who I stand for, and what my ideas are in relation to my own country, which is it's infuriating in itself because he's grown up in Russia and Berlin, and he's not even, I grew up in the South. It's like I was surrounded by black people. Like my banker was a black person. My dentist was black. It's like these are. And they tell us. I grew up in that.
And they tell us that they don't have any positive role models. The media wants to sit there and essentially blow up every role model I would consider a bad influence. But then you get people, doctors, judges. Look what happened to Clarence Thomas. They threw his ass under the bus. And this is a bit old. This was 20 years ago or longer. But his crime, Clarence Thomas, was being black and not being liberal. I can't remember. I don't think he made it to the Supreme Court. Right. They blocked him on the grounds that he rented pornography.
Really?
I'm
That's
dead
insane.
serious. Yeah. They had everyone worked up. I remember hearing Breitbart talk about it in his book. It's pretty interesting. Sorry.
Well, this is what somebody. I'm partway through that actually. It's a good book. But somebody actually talked about this with Steve Harvey. That everybody was mad that a black guy went to see Donald Trump and everybody saw it as a positive thing, but everybody on the left was really upset because, Steve Harvey, he's not a political mind. Why would it's really bad that he went up there, not someone intellectually who's African American. So, but then somebody said, oh well, what if it was Thomas Sowell? Would you have? You guys probably would have hated that, or who's the guy from Prager? Gosh, the guy who's always on PragerU. I forgot his name. Anyways, but yeah, it's pretty weird double standards on the left for sure. But so it's been a weird couple weeks. I actually went to a show the other night, and I felt like everybody was just staring at me. It was kind of a weird experience. So it's kind of changed my psyche. It's changed a little bit of my mental attitude, and it's been a tough couple weeks.
It's disappointing because art is supposed to be at least one of the main things that is protected from groupthink. The idea of art is supposed to be going against the popular idea, against the grain, and the fact that a lot of people are trying to make, no, this is what we all think. We're a community. We're all one. It doesn't work, especially in my opinion, with art.
Somebody, in those first couple of days, a lot of people were giving their opinion, and somebody said, if you're a centrist, if you're a Democrat, a Republican, if you're anything that's not a progressive, you don't belong in this scene because you're counter to what we believe. We believe, it's like, well, if you're just part of a group, then the group doesn't bloody well care about the individual at all, then you don't really matter. And to me, it's a really strange thing, because we're all creative artists. We're supposed to be individuals. We're supposed to be having our own flavors, our own sounds, our own expressions. And it's just being boiled down to some weird group thing. And it's really frustrating because moderates are now evil. And so, people that I would normally get in a raucous debate over are now just people that I find okay, are just, they're Nazis now. Yeah. It's insanity.
And a small side effect to this is just look at Hollywood. That place is probably one of the biggest echo chambers that in existence. Yeah. And look at the quality of art they produce from Hollywood. It isn't even art. Most people would just say it's dumb propaganda with a bunch of explosions. Like, I used to be a movie guy. I used to love movies. I can't sit through them anymore. There's just too much BS. There's too much political pandering, just bad acting. I can't believe people get paid millions of dollars for the stuff they do on screen. But the point being is the quality of work is just abysmal, in my opinion. And I think most of it's because no one can really speak up and say anything too radical, which would be anything too reasonable.
Yeah. I think that you can I can always take criticism, and I can always take, it's not that I have a problem with somebody, making a movie or saying, making fun of, you're supposed to make fun of the president. I mean, it's a funny position to begin with, and that's what you're supposed to do. So I don't think anybody would really have a problem with saying, oh, let's have a couple Donald Trump skits where we make fun of him. Or Donald Trump's a great dude to make fun of it. He's a pretty funny guy. So it's easy, and I don't think anybody would be really upset with that. I think what we're upset about is just the heavy-handedness of everything. Everything is that is all that is. It's all consuming, and the political correctness has gone overboard. I really relate. It's very funny. I think that a lot of this, what's going on right now, reminds me of the satanic panic of the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, me too.
Because somebody looked at a thumbnail for my YouTube and said, oh, just look at the thumbnail. It just looks so racist and evil. It was a picture of Jordan Peterson going like this with a communist flag running in the background and a bunch of soldiers. Oh, it just looks like it's white supremacy. That's something that the fundamentalist Christians would have said in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Don't read that. Look, it just looks evil. Pathetically evil. Ooh. So they're plaguing people's brains. And I really hope that the moral panic will stop soon, because it's really just starting to get annoying.
We've reached peak critical mass in regards to just mindless outrage. It took a month before everyone started going around and decapitating people who signed the Constitution because they had slaves. Like not everyone around the whole world. Do you think Britain is running around tearing down their monuments because they owned slaves at one point? Because I guarantee you they did. How about in Africa, the people who sold their slaves to us? Do you think they're taking down all their monuments? It's just, where does this end?
Well, that was seen. I knew when I made it. So the last video I made was of Duke Pesta and Stefan Molyneux, and I knew that would be the spiciest video. I was like, I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble for this video, but it's still true. It's the fact that if you go back in time, it's that no civilization was really great. Every civilization, there was Native American death pits where people fought to death. They genocided, they committed genocide against each other. They had wars against each other. Everybody was brutal. We're finally at a point in the past 100, 150 years where we can actually come together and create a new time in the world where we don't need to be doing all these things. So, but to look back on history, with our, modern sensibilities, and to just say, well, this one group, they did it better than everybody else. So let's just demonize them because they won. They're going to be the demons. And so I knew that video was going to make, stir up a lot of stuff. But, the monument thing, I totally see both sides of it. Like, I definitely see, and I think that, but instead of, I've said this to people out loud, and they've said, "Oh God, I have to walk away." People, I have to walk away from you right now, because I say, I can see both sides of the argument. Not even hey, I agree. I can see one side only. I see both sides. I can see people saying, let's make it private so that citizens don't have to pay for it, put it in a museum. But I also see the side that we're supposed to be reminded of history.
Yeah.
And that's evil now.
I actually am not even against the idea of legally having them removed via the some sort of democratic process. If that's what the people want, that's what the people want. My biggest issue is with an angry mob tearing down public property, and then that person who literally vandalized public property is getting a scholarship and her legal fees paid for her. It's like, I just can't help but not support that. But I just been hating this whole thing with the false dichotomy of we're the evil, or anyone who's right of Stalin, they're the evildoers, they're the demons, the wrong thinkers, and us on this side, we're the virtuous good, everything about us is awesome. Like, they have no sense of give and take in that. It's just, we're the good ones, you guys are the evil ones, and anybody who isn't on our side is on the evil side, and it justifies anything we might want to do to you, whether that be violence, ruining your life, doxing you, any of that. They think that the ends justify their means, but their ends are complete BS to begin with.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just I don't know how familiar you are with postmodern thought and Stephen. I'm making my next video about Stephen Hicks, and he talks about ad hominem attacks in postmodern thought. First off, I don't think that most people actually realize that they're postmodernists. I don't think most people even realize what they're doing. Like, a lot of my friends who espouse this kind of nonsense day in and day out, I don't actually think they know that they're kind of being used as a tool of against any kind of critical thinking. But the idea that there's only weak men and strong men, the socialism, the idea of communism, socialism, and the collective has kind of lost the battle. So therefore, there's like this inherent weakness being felt in most people right now, and the only way that they can really attack is to use ad hominem attacks and to destroy somebody, even if it's not true. So anybody who's against affirmative actions or racist, or like for me, I'm now a white supremacist Nazi. Like, these ideas they can attack because they get some kind of moral goodness. They feel virtuous. We all know this virtue signaling and the like. It's just sick. It's gross. I mean, I can tell a lot of these people when they tweet at me that that's all they want, is they want cookie points. They want to be able to be seen as virtuous. They want 1,000 likes because that's what's going to happen. And they want to be behind all the big DJs who are doing this because they're just going to be part of the people who they think stood on the good side of history. And it's really ridiculous. It's actually a lot more psychological than I even realized until the past couple of months. I'm worried. I'm just worried that society is going down this path and that it might be too late, but I hope not. And for me to do my little tiny small part in the scene that I'm in, I got to do it. I mean, I feel like I have to stand up for what's right. And if I lose fans, I lose fans. And, but I think I've gained a lot of followers actually through this, and I've actually got a lot of support through it. And people have been supporting my music and buying it, and I've been selling out a lot of records and stuff. So it's been actually a pretty good thing. So
yeah, that's the thing. I think you're gonna find a lot more people who respect your what you've been doing.
Yeah, I have, and I've actually I made a post. You saw the post in Kotaku in action, and I had a lot of people messaging me saying, we know the legal fees are really high, so just let us know. Start a GoFundMe. So that's been also positive to know that I do underground independent music, so it's not like I'm making tons of dollars, but I'm making my rent and paying some bills and stuff, but I'm by no means able to support paying a lawyer $150 an hour to help with legal costs. But there is a community behind me now that I didn't even know really existed, and people that have disposable income that want to see this stuff kind of.
Are you familiar at all with Leonard French, the lawful silence of Leonard French? He's a YouTube copyright lawyer. I don't know what his whole thing is, but you might want to check out his channel. It's a bit boring if I'm being honest, because he'll just read court documents for like 2 hours. But if there's maybe he covered something that might help you in the future, or quite possibly maybe you could reach out to him, see what's going on. I mean, he's a copyright lawyer, so it's not exactly the same, but he is a rather smart individual.
Right. Leonard French, you said?
Yeah, Leonard French. He did a video yesterday talking about Sargon of Akkad getting sued over copyright. I'm not sure if you heard about that at all.
No, whoa, no, I've been out of the loop for like a couple
Okay,
days.
yeah, this just happened yesterday or the day before. So this is from regarding a clip he did last year, I believe, right after the election, and it was just he edited 2 clips together and didn't add commentary to it, and she hit the claim to take the video down, and he put a counterclaim, and then she is taking him to court now because he counterclaimed it. He probably shouldn't have counterclaimed it, knowing that it was just 2 clips, and it doesn't set a really good case for fair use. So he's probably SOL on this one. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that pop up all of a sudden yesterday.
Damn, that's very strange. Yeah, I mean, the minute you get to the anywhere near the top and you start getting the kind of likes that Sargon has, you gotta wall yourself off even more from these kind of attacks. I mean, for me, I'm just the flavor of the week. They've already moved on to somebody else.
Yep.
But the damage is done. They've even gone as far as to delete the tweets and whatnot. But I can imagine if I've seen people that are bigger than me that are still dealing with it after months and months.
Yeah.
So I've already had to cancel. I actually had a speaking gig this week, and I was going to play after, and I got a email saying, hey, we need to cancel because we think it's going to be a toxic atmosphere having you there. And I'm just like, okay, well, does that mean you think everybody else is toxic or I'm toxic? But that was money out of my pocket, and that kind of stuff is happening right now all the time. So, but if I was big as Sargon, man, I would have to, I might need to defend myself even better, have an even bigger wall for people to try to get over. But sad, man, very sad day.
It is. I think we should probably wrap up because I got to get ready for my good old job.
Yeah, cool, man. No worries.
It was real cool talking to you. Feel free to hit me up anytime if you want to chat again, and I will leave a link to some of your stuff in the description below. I'm actually going to check it out because I like electronica. So,
yeah, cool. Yeah, for sure, man. I'll send you a link to my label's website because we run a comic book it's like an online comic you can read with a lot of the stuff. So it's really actually pretty intricate, and there's a lot to it. So I will link you and everybody watching this to it.
Right on. Well, you take care, man. It was nice talking to you, and I'll see you later. Good luck with everything, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.